Hey, how's it going? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about black and white. So black and white are two different colors that are the same color. And you can get this from the fact that there's a video called Black is a Strong Color, which I'll link to this one so that you can see if you can understand that. So black and white are two different colors that mean the same thing. So black is BLACK and white is BLNC, blanc, and black is black. Black is also lack. So black is lack because black lacks color. So when something is black, it means that it has no color. And when something is blank, it means that it's white. So black and white are the exact same thing. So when anything is black, it means that it has no color, it has no pigmentation. It is dark, it is black, it is just that. So when we have this understanding of that black is blank, white is blank. So both of these are blank. And these two colors are the ones that give us every word in the universe because the spectrum of light is white. And from breaking the frequencies in light, we see that the 7 colors of the rainbow, which are the 7 energy points in the body, which is the rainbow around the throne of God, which are the 7 stars that are held by Jesus, which are the 7 spirits of God, the 7 candles on the lampstand on the throne of God burning right now, the 7 lights, the 7 colors are from the white. So this white only shines in the black. So we give all acknowledgement to God, because if the world were just black, as it were, when before we were, the whole universe was just covered in black, and we were not able to be conscious to see anything because everything was blank. So he's like, let there be light. So the little light, the small flicker of light, is able to conquer the huge darkness. So with just one candle, you can light 1,000 other candles. One candle lights 1,000 other candles, and when it lights 1,000 other candles, its light never depletes. Its lifespan is still the same. Its light is not gonna grow dimmer. This is the miracle of light. This is why God is the Father of lights, because through the blackness, He was able to give us the light. So this light is the sight, because through that we see everything because of the light. So light is sight. So this sight is both physical and spiritual, as you see that everything that concerns the word is physical and it's spiritual. So it's actually physical, spiritual, and there's always a third or a fourth. So all of these elements are always in there. So when you have the physical light, you also have the spiritual light, which works in our minds. So whenever you close your eyes, there's blackness. And then when you think of a thought, just like let there be light, there is light in your mind, because this is the Father of lights dwelling in you. The light is in you. So this is how Jesus would say, you don't light a candle and put it under a bed. So you don't think a great thing and keep it in your mind. You don't light a candle and put it in a basket. You don't do something that is giving glory to God and keep it in the darkness, because it has to conquer the darkness, or else people won't be able to see. So light is something to do with sight. So when you understand that everything we see is because of light, we see that everything we don't see is because of the darkness. So all of the things that are happening in the dark are things that we don't see, especially when they happen during our sleep. This is why we close our eyes when it's dark, and then we get into a darker place where there's more light. So in this darkness, this is when people who are called the children of darkness start to walk in the darkness. So these are like witches and things like that. So these people practice what they call black magic, black arts, because they move in the black. So in the white is the day. This is why Paul says you are children of the light. You are children of the day, not of the night. Because when you think back, everything bad that happens usually happens at night. When you have this idea like, hey, let's go do this, and it turns out to be a bad thing. Like nothing good ever happens after 2 a.m., right? So if it turns out to be something that's not awesome, then it's because you've done it in the dark. So there's something that you don't see. There are unseen forces in the dark. So this is how Paul says that you are children of the day, not children of the night. This is in Galatians 6, I think. It's in the book of Galatians for sure. So it says that you're children of the light. But then during the night, he says, don't sleep, so be awake. So it says like you're children of the day, but in the night, stay awake. This is the funny thing. So even in the darkness, you have to find the light, because you can only see the utility of light through the darkness. Because if we didn't have the nighttime, then we wouldn't have candles and stuff like that. So it is important to realize that God will use everything to give glory to God, to give glory to that light, because a tiny light is able to make the darkness scatter. But everywhere that light will come, we'll find darkness already there. So there's a lot that we don't already see. So this is why we need to increase the light. So increasing the light, this is interesting. How do you increase the light? So when we're looking at black and white, what we're looking at are two of the same things. So black is a lack of color, white is a lack of color, and black is the opposite of white, but they're the same thing. So just remember that there are so many paradoxes, but this is one of them, because what we're talking about is the fourth dimension. So this dimension is the third dimension, but we're talking about the fourth dimension. So it's a paradox in our minds. So black and white are different because black does not look like white, but at the same time they're the same because both of them are just colors. So when we're visualizing the white light, we're looking at the sun, the black is the moon, okay? So this is just how the two lights work, because the sun to rule the day, the moon to rule the night. So this is white and black. This is male and female. The moon has always been female. And not to say that it is whatever, but it's just a fact that the moon has always been female, because everything in creation has male and female. This is the law of the universe, because there had to be an Adam, there had to be an Eve. So there had to be a male and a female, a man and a woman. So this is how light works, that it's both, but it's from the same thing. So we have the sun, but the sun is a product of light. So the sun is derived from light. But Jesus is the Son, S-O-N, because he is the Son, S-U-N, because he is the actual, like, no one worships the Son in that sense. I don't know, maybe people do, but Jesus is the Son. Like Malachi says that the Son is going to come and visit. The book of Luke, I think it's chapter 3:19, says that the morning sun has come to visit us. This is Jesus, S-U-N, literally in the Bible. So, and Psalm 84 verse 9, I think I have to cross-reference those and put them in the links. So, in those verses, you see that the sun, S-U-N, is the one that's actually used. And then this sun gives us the light. But then now the light is from somewhere else, because there are other stars in the sky. They all have lights, right? So then light is different from the sun. So this is why light had a son called the sun. So this sun is the son of light, and God is the father of lights, not father of the sun. So we worship God through knowing that there is light in the world, through seeing, because this light helps us to see. And then the darkness is where we get the separation between light and day. So when you're looking at light, you're looking at white. When you're looking at black, you're looking at white. So how are these two the same things? So white is the same thing as black, because black also means burning. Black is something that also gives light, even though it's magnetic. It sucks in the light. Black is a strong color, so it sucks in the light. And white is a subordinate color. But then since it is strong, it is weak. Since it is weak, it is strong. This is why white is able to conquer the black, even though the black is already there before the white is even there. This is why you have to light a light. And this is why there's a fight, because black is a strong color, which is the dark side. That yeah, like Star Wars, there's the dark force, there's the good force, right? So the dark forces always seem like they have it under control. They always seem like they're gonna win. But then the white always has like one thing, like just one flicker that just ruins everything for the black, because the black is big, dense, and huge. Like the whole space is like 80% dark matter, 80% black, 80% of the things we don't even see. But then we only need to know the one thing that's going to make a difference, because from one candle you can light 1,000 other candles. So this is why black is a strong color, but then white is a strong color too. They are both the same, they're both different. Paradoxes. They're so awesome. So black is burning. So when you burn something, it means that it turns black, right? Charred, black, blaze. So black is a blaze. So when you have the black, you have something that is magnetic. The black is magnetic, the white is reflective. So black is magnetic, and because it's magnetic, it has to suck the firewood, and the firewood burns black. And this black gives like an orange, yellowish, golden light. Okay? And then it gives this golden light. It's almost brown, just like me. So this is like the fire. Like this is the black flame. So it actually burns black, and then this black blazes. And then this blaze is what we call fire. So fire was actually discovered in the dark continent. The black people used fire first, right? Fact. So the white is different now. The white is something that is reflective, something that is electric, because we use solar for light. So the light, the white light, is higher, comes from up, comes from higher, okay? Like it comes from the north, so to speak, but it comes from the sky. It comes from the sky. This is where we get the white light. So black is at the bottom, white is at the top. So white is at the bottom and black is at the top, because it's all like that. Everything is like that. So they're both the same thing. They're both the same thing. So when you have black light, you have fire. And when you have fire, you have the first technology. And then when you have white light, you have heat, you have electricity. So as you can see, the white people in the world have harnessed the power of electricity. They came and invaded Africa because they had guns, because they had these machines, because they could harness the electrical essence of this light. And the black people, on the other hand, didn't have guns, but what they had is that they had fire, right? And this fire is something that is actually used in chemistry. Like when you study chemistry, chemicals, and things like that, and alchemy, you'd see that these were actually alchemists. So they knew how to harness the power of the flames. So they're like throwing flames at people. This is what they were doing. So they were on a different role. They were on a different wavelength, because these people were alchemists, and these people were using the dark arts, which is from the fire, because it's black fire. So if you've seen cartoons, you see that the witches are always burning something, right, in a cauldron, and then they make a potion, and then they laugh, right? But then they have this pot and they have fire, actual fire. They don't do it on a stove, which is different, because the stove is white light, but the fire is black light. Both of them are light. So this fire is how you increase your light, because you burn. Like when you're burning for passion, the most passionate people in the world are the blazers, the burning ones. So they actually burn, like they're so passionate. Like why are, like, even like look at West African people, they're so emotional people. It's so nice though. They're so expressive as well. They're so artistic. They know all these things. They're so grounded to the earth, because the earth is where we get the wood and is where the fire is. So there are 4 elements. There's earth, right? Fire, right? And then there's air and water. So the black, the African, the base, right? The basis of mankind, the foundation is on the is on the earth and the wood. So it's on the fire and the it's on the fire and the earth. This is where the basis is. This is where the black is. The fire, right? And the earth. everything on the earth, the stones, the rocks, the trees, everything that comes and is produced off the earth, which is also including the wealth in the earth. This is crazy because all of the gold was in Africa. All of the silver is in Africa, the copper, the platinum, and everyone else that comes from the earth, which is everybody else who comes from the earth. Who comes from the earth comes from that source, the fire, the burning. That is the source. So even those people are from there. So when you look at African tradition, it's actually crazy because everyone in Africa actually traces their no matter how far you go back, you'd see that everyone has the blood of kingship in their veins because at one point or another, one of your ancestors, if you're African, one of your ancestors were actually a king. So this is why we have so many problems that everyone has this kingship in them. So now the other problem is we are the black consumers. So this is something that you have to understand, that it's a passionate color, a blazing color. And white, on the other hand, is reflective. So white is very, very, very clever because it's reflective. It's very clever. So while we have the fire, they have the air, right? So this is a higher sense so that they can see from a higher perspective. This is how an eagle can see further, okay? And from this, they have water, okay? So this water comes from the sky and it falls on the ground. So you have to see that both of these are the same things because the fire burns, but then the smoke goes in the air. But the water comes from the air and it comes to the ground. Okay, so the earth needs the air because every plant needs the air to breathe. So all of these are the same thing, but you have to see that they're different things. So with these different strengths, you have different problems and different things. But then the white is the one that is clever. So there's fire on one hand. And what do we have on the other hand? On the other hand, in order to reflect light, because the white is reflective, the black is magnetic. So the magnetic has to consume, right? And then it consumes. And what shape is a flame? So this flame has its own shape, its own texture, its own things. But then the white, on the other hand, has to reflect. So what did the white create? This is interesting. What they actually created was the mirror, the duplication. So they created the mirror, which is this whole body is light, okay? This body is light. So when I have a mirror, I'm reflecting the light. So white means bleach, white means blank, right? White also means blench, B-L-E-N-C-H, blench, which means to trick. So white means trickster. This is a fact. So just check in your dictionary what blench is, what blanche is, what blanc is, what blank is, and you have black and white. So blanche is from trick, blench, blanc, bleach. All right, so this is the trickster. So this white light is how we get all of our technology because it's a reflection. So this self-reflection has some problems. It has some advantages because right now I'm speaking to you because of this electric gizmo, because it's from the white light. It's from it's from the mirrors. This is just using mirrors, and everything here is just like reflections. These are just different angles of light, and it's pretty amazing actually because all of these are the same, but all of these are different. So the black is the magnetic, the one that consumes. The white is the reflective, the one that gives. That's why it gives its light. It gives its reflection to the mirror and it gets back. So when it gets back, it starts consuming. So the black is the fire, which is actually the black is magnetic, so it consumes. But then when it starts to burn, it's just giving and not getting anything. So this is the paradox. The paradoxes are interesting because the white is giving, but then since we have this mirror image, we end up eating that light. We end up being consumed with ourselves. This is pride. So the mirror gives us pride. So the mirror gives us consumption. All right. Even though the black is supposed to be the one that's magnetic, denser, bigger, consumption, but then the white one, the duplication one, is the one that's making us consumptive. It's a switcheroo. And then the black one is the one that consumes the actual wood, but at the end of the day, it's the one that's just giving light without expecting anything back. Like you can eat from it. Like now you can consume. You can be heated, and the fire doesn't want anything back. It just wants to burn. It just wants to consume so that it can give and give, so that it it burns. So you have to see that these paradoxes are pretty amazing. So the way that this world is created is crazy good. Like the creator is amazing. So so when you have these both two elements here, you just have the black and the white, which is just the same thing. And when you have the same thing, it means that you need to know the different ways and how the different ways work. So black is full of light, okay? White is full of light, but both of them have nothing. So both of them are blank and both of them are full. So one is magnetic and one is reflective. So in all of this, I just hope you understand that everything just has its own cycle. And all of these are just talking about the two different elements that are at work. So there's the higher and the lower. So there's the higher self, which applies to the lower self. So the black color, which is here in this video, I just noticed that I'm just using it interchangeably with the black people, but it's not actually about that. So I just hope that you get that nuance though. But it's not about that. But this is what our life is. It's a metaphor. It's metaphysics. So meta beyond physics. So it's beyond understanding. But then it's a metaphor because meta beyond four. So which means that the tetragrammaton, the four-letter tone, the four-letter word, the four-letter God, let there be light, is what created everything. Four. So it's beyond four, but then it is the four. So knowing that it's a metaphor it means that everything has a meaning because it's created by a creator. It's so interesting because the creator has everything in his hands. So when we understand that, we just know that whatever is happening is an analogy, an allegory. It is a trick, a riddle, a puzzle. Like it's all of these things, okay? And anyone can just figure it out. So, well, yeah, I guess so. And that's why I'm saying this, and that's why I'm giving this, so that he can get with the program. So then the light on the white light is the one that's reflective, and this one just duplicates. And this is where we get TVs. This is where we get Hollywood, because at the end of the day, like the people who conquer end up controlling the black and the white. So they want to give us Hollywood, right? The Hollywood, which is from the earth. Wood is from the earth. So then they're taking the knowledge of the black, or the knowledge of the black continent. This is what it's called, because it burns. Like there's everything in it. Like it burns like gold because there's so much gold in it. And that's why it's been messed up. And if you just look at the way that people used to live in this continent, it's crazy. Because if the roles were switched and the Africans actually colonized the world, the principles, the morals, the way of living would be very, very different, because our ways were extremely different from the blench. So it was so the blench is the ones who give the light, but then they want to bend the light, while the black bend the light. Bend, just add a D. So the other ones burn, the other ones bend. So we burn the light, they bend the light. So they end up bending the rules. So this is why blench is a trickster. Your reflection will trick you. This is what got Shaka Zulu. If you watch the Shaka Zulu movie, you see that the most impressive thing he got when they gave him gifts was a mirror. Like, whoa, I can look at myself. So then this is lover of self, and this is homosexuality. This is where it starts, because of the mirror. So when you have this, you have homosexuality, you don't produce more, even though you now have two. But then these two are the same. So you're supposed to multiply, not to just stay like with the reflection, which is fake, which is synthetic, sin. Okay, so yeah, so this was black and white, right? So I just hope that you got exactly the core and the essence of this, that white is void, like as white as a ghost, just like sperm is void of life until it has the egg, and the egg is from the ovum, which is in the darkness. Right now it's in the darkness, but the sperm is like in your sac, which is in the light, which is white. So black and white. And which one is the most important one? It is the mother, the matrix inside the womb. Thanks a lot.